I didn't know that Jon would say things like that and put them in an email. He just always been a fraud to me. He just always been a fraud to me. Never from day one, he's been a used car salesman. And people bought it because he inherited a championship team built by Tony Dungy and Rich McKay. And he came in there with a little bit of different energy that we had with Tony. And it kind of kicked us over the top to get our world championship, which I am grateful for. But at the same time, I also saw through who he was through that journey of getting a championship. The year that, think about it, we won the championship and we're standing on the podium in the Super Bowl and the general manager's trying to raise the trophy and the head coach takes the trophy from him, basically says, give me this belongs to me. And like all of that, when you're paying attention, and then the next year, the general manager leaves in the middle of the season because he doesn't want to deal with all the shenanigans that was going on. Think about this, though, Jay and Max. He leaves in the middle. Rich McKay left in the middle of the season to go take another job with another team because he didn't want to be around this guy.
Yeah.
And it's like a lot to digest and see. Where, you know, as I was having conversations with some friends last night that are in the coaching business. And some of the things that he used to do, and he didn't know that players knew, but players are close to assistant coaches. Patting you on the back on the practice field and then going inside of the coaches' offices and film room and shredding you to pieces and then see you 30 minutes later and act like y'all getting ready to go to dinner.
Let me catch everybody up on exactly what's going on, what we're reacting to right now. And notice Keyshawn just said he came with a different energy that put us over the top. He's giving Gruden credit for that, and he said I was appreciative of it. It's not just like, hey, everyone's piling on Gruden now. We're reacting to the story. If you missed what we're talking about, the New York Times reported that Jon Gruden used misogynistic and anti-gay language in numerous emails during a 7-year period that ended in 2018. The Times story came after ESPN's Adam Schefter, who will join us at 8:30 Eastern, reported the NFL had sent the Raiders additional Gruden emails to review following the release of disparaging emails about DeMaurice Smith and Roger Goodell. The Raiders said assistant Rich Bisaccia will serve as interim coach. Here's Jon Gruden's statement. Quote, I have resigned as head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders. I love the Raiders and do not want to be a distraction. Thank you to all the players, coaches, staff, and fans of Raider Nation. I'm sorry I never meant to hurt anyone. Raiders owner Mark Davis released a statement. Quote, I have accepted Jon Gruden's resignation as head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders. End quote. The emails were sent while Jon Gruden was working for Monday Night Football as a lead analyst. An ESPN spokesman said in a statement, quote, the comments are clearly repugnant under any circumstance. So, we've heard from Key. Jay?
Well, look, he should have been fired or resigned. That's done for me. That's done. Booger McFarland said in our open that anything you do in the dark comes to light. That is the world that we live in right now. And I'm in agreement that Jon Gruden should step down. But I refuse to let this point go, and I said it yesterday, Max. There seems like there was a concerted effort to take down Jon Gruden. And that's intriguing to me. One email gets leaked to the writer of the Wall Street Journal. That comes out 2 days ago. And then yesterday, all these emails come out to the New York Times. And we are talking about over 600+ thousand emails into the work environment of the Washington football team. That's the fascinating part to me. This is about the Washington football team, yet there's collateral damage in Jon Gruden, which is deserving of all the evidence that he wrote down in the email, obviously. But I'm so curious to what else will come out or what the league will allow to come out.
I'm curious, Jay. I
It
want to
affects
follow
Daniel Snyder or Bruce Allen or all these other issues that are going to be in these emails.
I want to follow up on that for a second with you. I understand what you're saying, but if there is stuff that implicates the Washington football franchise or members of it in the executive staff, whatever, that will eventually come out.
Will it?
So you would think
you would think. I don't know.
In other words, something
It's been
like this
shielded
is
for
leaked.
a while, though, Max.
Something like this is leaked usually because there's something ongoing that people want to distract from. But it's not like these emails are going to go away, right?
You would think. I have no idea.
Look, here's what happened. The league and the Raiders, whoever made the decision, did the right thing, period. Jon Gruden's no longer the coach. It was time to go. He did the right thing. And so I think in the end, everybody learns from their mistakes, okay? Whatever those mistakes are. Again, I go back to my days with Jon Gruden because it's important that you have context in all of this. Did I ever think Jon Gruden, would put negative things in an email about somebody? Would I ever say that he would talk behind somebody's back? Absolutely. Absolutely he would. But did I ever think that he would use racial terms, homophobic terms? No, I did never, because that never crossed my mind. Being negative towards somebody, yes, 100% times over, because that's just who he is. That's who Jon Gruden is, okay? He had them all fooled for a long time. Everybody was thinking, oh, my God, he's the greatest of all times. He's this, he's that. And now they actually see. And this is what you're getting in this, Max.
When you say people learn, I'm interested because the thing about you is you will tell people how you feel about it. And even if it comes off, oh, he's just anti this. In fact, if you listen
I'm
closely,
not anti anything.
Right, you're very fair in your own assessment of things. You will be honest on both sides. Actually, his energy helped put us over the top, but it was Tony Dungy's team. You started off by saying everyone can learn from their mistakes. To what does that refer? When you say you can learn from your mistakes, why did you bring that up? Who are you talking about?
I'm talking about everybody in general in life. You learn from mistakes and things that you do. But this is over and above learning from a mistake. Mm-hmm. This is a repeated behavior or pattern, clearly. Okay? We can go all the way back to 2011. We can go to emails all the way to 2018. We can do all of those things. And I'm sure if they wanted to go into emails prior to that, you probably could find something there. And I'm sure you can go to some things post-2018. Just remember this. They brought in Richie Incognito, okay,
but Key,
to the Raiders to do anything to help them win, even though his behavior was such that he was removed from a couple teams because of his type of behavior. But when you align yourself with that, you think it's okay.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.